In the southern heart of America, where the air grows thick with mist and memory, lies a land of deep woods and darker secrets. Arkansas, a place where rivers wind like veins through the hills, where forgotten towns sleep beneath the pines, and the night hums with stories too old to die. Out here, ghosts don't hide. They wander, they whisper. Tonight, we follow those whispers. 3 tales from the Ozarks to the Delta, where the living and the dead still share the same dirt roads. A light that dances on the rails, a woman who never left her mountain, and a creature born of swamp and sorrow. This is Haunting Legends, the ghost lights of Arkansas. The Gurdon Light. Along a lonely stretch of train tracks near the small town of Gurdon, Arkansas, there's a light that moves where no light should. Locals call it the Gurdon Light. A pale orb, no bigger than a lantern, floating through the darkness, swinging gently from side to side, like it's being carried by an invisible hand. The story goes back to the early 1930s. The Great Depression had hit Arkansas hard. Men worked the rails from dawn to dusk for just enough to eat. Among them was a foreman named Will McLean, a quiet man who took his work and his temper seriously. And one night, under a cold winter moon, that temper finally broke. 2 workers had been arguing near mile marker 530. No one remembers what started it. But when McLean stepped in to stop the fight, something went wrong. There was a shout, a scream, and then silence. When the other workers found them, McLean's body lay twisted beside the rails. His head was gone. The next night, the men who found him swore they saw something moving down the tracks. A flickering light, swinging back and forth like a lantern in a dead man's hand. They said it searched every night, wandering the same stretch of track, forever looking for what it lost. Some folks say it's swamp gas or headlights refracted through the trees, but no one's ever proven it. The light still appears, bright as ever, even after the old railroad shut down. On calm nights, you can stand by the tracks near Gurdon, and if you're quiet, you'll hear it before you see it. The low hum of something electric in the air, like the world holding its breath. Then, from the darkness, a glow. It floats towards you, slow, steady, almost curious. Some say it's the ghost of Will McLean. Others think it's something older, drawn to tragedy like a moth to flame. But everyone agrees on one thing. The moment that light stops moving, you should run. The Lady of Petit Mountain. If you drive west from Little Rock into the Arkansas River Valley, you'll see a mountain rising gently from the plains. Its name is Petit Jean, Little John. But the story behind that name isn't gentle. Long before the mountain became a park, before the hiking trails and picnic tables, there was a love story and a secret buried beneath the stone. In the 1700s, a young French nobleman named Chavet prepared to sail to the New World. He'd been granted permission to explore the Arkansas River region on behalf of the French crown. But there was someone he was leaving behind, his fiancée, a woman named Adrienne Dumont. She begged to come with him, but he refused. The journey was dangerous, so Adrienne did the only thing her heart allowed. She disguised herself as a boy, took the name Jean, and signed on as a cabin hand aboard his ship. Months passed before anyone realized the truth. But by then, she'd earned her place among the crew. When they reached the river valley, Adrienne was there, watching her beloved Chavet step onto the soil she had followed him to. But fate has no mercy for love stories. While the explorers were building camp, Adrienne fell ill. Fever took her fast. She called for Chavet, finally revealing who she really was. He was at her side when she died, her hand in his, her eyes fixed on the mountain rising above their camp. They buried her there, on that high plateau overlooking the river. When the local people heard the story, they called it Petit Jean, Little John, a name of love and sorrow. But the story doesn't end there. Hikers say that when the fog rolls down the cliffs at sunrise, you can see her figure, a woman in old French clothes, standing at the edge of the mountain watching the river. Park rangers have found flowers laid at her grave when no one's been up the trail for days. And sometimes, as the sun sets, a voice can be heard among the rocks, whispering in French, carried on the wind. Mon amour, my love. They say she's still waiting for the man she followed across the ocean, for the life she never got to live. And when the fog lifts, she disappears again into the mountain until the next dawn. The White River Monster. Some ghosts walk on land, others stay in the water. On the banks of the White River, near Newport, Arkansas, locals have been telling stories of something large and very old for more than a century. They call it Whitey, the White River Monster. The first written account came from 1915. A farmer said he saw the river boiling one afternoon. When he got closer, he saw a creature the size of a train car rolling just beneath the surface. By 1937, the sightings multiplied. A group of men tried to trap it using chains and dynamite. They never found it, but what they did find were strange prints along the muddy banks, three-toed and deep, as if pressed by something enormous. When divers went into the river, they came back pale and shaking, refusing to speak about what they'd seen. Some said it looked like a giant fish, others like an elephant's hide stretched over bone. In 1971, the state officially declared the area around Newport a protected zone, not for people, but for the monster. It's on record, the White River Monster Refuge. They say that when the river floods, the creature rises from the depths to breathe, and every time it does, something bad follows: storms, deaths, or disappearances. Locals believe it's an omen, a warning that the river is angry, and some whisper that it isn't a monster at all, but an ancient spirit, a guardian watching over the water that people have taken too much from. One fisherman swears he saw its surface at dusk, a long, pale shape gliding silently through the mist, an eye like a lantern opening just beneath the waves. It turned toward his boat and sank without a sound. He sold his gear the next day and moved inland. To this day, locals won't fish that part of the river at night. They say when the moon is high, you can hear something breathing beneath the current, slow and steady, like it's still waiting for whoever dares to look again. You've been listening to Haunting Legends, where the old tales still breathe and the past is never truly gone. Leave a light burning and join me again for another journey into the unseen, because in Arkansas, the light never really fades. It just moves on, down the tracks, over the mountains, and into the river.